On Wednesday, July 29th, severe winds exceeding 100 kilometers per hour struck southern and southeastern Brazil. The storm caused trees to fall, power outages, and disruptions to essential services in many cities, and also resulted in loss of life.
Gente, a água atingiu o moço, meu Deus! Gente, misericórdia!
The events also led to fatalities in some areas. 2 people lost their lives when a retaining wall collapsed in the historic Santa Teresa neighborhood of Rio de Janeiro. In São Paulo, 3 more people died due to falling trees and capsized boats. Meteorologist Gustavo Varado explained that Wednesday's windstorms were not directly linked to the El Niño phenomenon, but were instead related to a dynamic atmospheric pattern that amplified the cold front's effects. Following the storm, weather conditions in the region are gradually returning to normal. According to data from the Brazilian National Institute of Meteorology and the city's meteorological system, Alerta Rio, the weather in the region is expected to gradually calm down after the storm front loses its strength. The storm's most tangible effects were felt in the city's transportation network. Wind speeds in Rio de Janeiro reached approximately 100 kilometers per hour.
Caramba, todo ele no chão.
At Gallium Airport, winds of 105 kilometers per hour were recorded in the afternoon. The intensity of the wind caused power outages in some neighborhoods, disruptions to train and subway service, and the temporary closure of the Rio-Niterói bridge. Santos Dumont Airport suspended takeoffs and landings for more than 2 hours during the period of the strongest winds. 5 flights, scheduled to arrive at Galo International Airport, were diverted to other cities. Due to damage to power transmission lines, some neighbourhoods in central Rio de Janeiro, as well as coastal districts such as Pari and Angra dos Reis, were without power for hours. Numerous trees were uprooted on major thoroughfares, such as Linha Vermelha and Avenida Presidente Vargas. The Rio de Janeiro City Operations Centre raised the city's alert level to level 2 as of 4:50 p.m. on Wednesday, due to the intensity of the winds. According to the AY statement, more than 185 wind-related incidents were addressed across the state, including 93 fallen trees, 31 rescues, and 5 structural collapses. The storm's effects were not limited to downtown Rio, but spread to other parts of the city and the neighbouring state. In Bangu and Rio's western region, strong winds also caused damage to properties. Footage recorded by residents shows roofs being blown off homes as the cold front passed through the city. There was also anxiety along the city's coastline at beaches such as Ipanema and Copacabana due to the intensity of the wind and the risk of high waves. Coast Guard and fire department teams evacuated people from the shoreline and the water. Meanwhile, tourists in Ipanema and around the Christ the Redeemer statue experienced moments of panic and tension. Authorities warned against engaging in water sports, climbing the cliffs, and staying away from coastal walking paths during the storm.
A central. E não são
There was also anxiety along the city's coastline at beaches such as Ipanema and Copacabana due to the intensity of the wind and the risk of high waves. Coast Guard and fire department teams evacuated people from the shoreline and the water. Meanwhile, tourists in Ipanema and around the Christ the Redeemer statue experienced moments of panic and tension. Authorities warned against engaging in water sports, climbing the cliffs, and staying away from coastal walking paths during the storm.
Search and rescue operations were launched by Corpo de Bomberos teams for a fisherman who had set out to sea during the storm and capsized. Port authorities restricted fishing boats and small vessels from setting out to sea due to the sea conditions. Behind such a destructive storm system lie certain atmospheric conditions. The strong winds were caused by a cold front that had been forecasted in advance by meteorologists. The system moved across the country, causing a rapid change in atmospheric conditions and primarily affecting the southern and southeastern regions.